It's time to be dangerous. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you were destined to become.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Raw Minds. I'm your host Eric, and first off, I just want to say I'm really sorry for not dropping an episode last week. Life's been a little crazy. My daughter is heading off to horse camp, so finally I got a week to myself, so it's been a little crazy, but I'm back and I've got some big news for you guys. I've also this week I'm releasing a brand new music album for men's mental health. It's raw and it's emotional and it's built from strength that everybody goes through the struggles, what I've gone through. So when it drops, if I could get you guys support, comment, share, and we'll get it out there so it can reach the people that it needs to. And now today's guest is someone I've been looking forward to. Corey is a powerhouse. He started as a top orthodontist, but found his real purpose in helping people train their minds and master their emotions. He's an author of Emotional Fitness and is the host of Unleash Success podcast, a show that inspires thousands around the world. Corey has built a huge community by teaching people how to break through fear, build confidence, and live with the real strengths. His story is proof that success is just not about money or titles, it's about mastering yourself. So let's get into it and give Corey a warm welcome. Welcome, Corey, to Raw Minds Podcast, my friend.
Thanks, Eric, for having me on the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on and reach into your book and what you do too. So I'm excited. So at the start, I like to tell all my guests, plug everything so everybody knows where to find you. So if you want to first off plug all your socials.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can pretty much find me on Instagram or at YouTube at Corey Corpodian. So that's CoreyCorpodian. I'm sure you'll include that in the show links and everything.
Yep.
But we do have a pretty good following on YouTube. I've interviewed some really big names on my podcast. For anybody who's an entrepreneur and wants to learn more about business, guys like Tom Bilyeu from Billion Dollar Quest Nutrition and the host and founder of Impact Theory. Chris Voss, who is the former FBI hostage negotiator. We'll be interviewing coming up soon the former CEO of 7-Eleven and Blockbuster.
Wow.
Also interviewed. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. Be
Yeah.
like, oh, do you feel like you made any mistakes? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you tell them don't charge you for your overdue Blockbuster
Right,
movies,
yeah.
too.
I wonder how many people listen to this actually rewounded a VHS tape. They're like, what's a VHS?
No kidding, man. I remember 8-tracks in the car back in the day,
Yeah.
even 8-tracks.
But yeah, so really enjoy podcasting. Focus a lot of entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs find their message. You go to my website, unleashsuccess.com. And I really started all this podcasting. Why I wrote my book, Emotional Fitness, was because I was looking for something that I thought was success. And in life, finding, we all grow up as kids and we're, a lot of us are do what we're told, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we follow this blueprint of life. Most people's blueprint goes something along the lines of go to school, get good grades, get a good job, work hard, retire. And unfortunately, I followed this blueprint to a T. And for me, my blueprint went a little band a little bit different than other people's, where my dad said, you got to be a doctor or a lawyer. Because if you want to get paid and you want to make money and you want to have a good life, you got to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And so growing up as a kid, we moved around a lot because unfortunately we didn't have that financial stability. And so we were always jumping from job to job to job. So I went to, 5 different high schools in 3 years and over 3 different states. And through that, I realized, okay, I want to be able to have that stability. I want to be able to be financially secure. And so I'm a hard worker. I always have been. And I like to dive deep into things. So I said, all right, what makes a lot of money? And at 12 years old, I remember saying to my dad, my orthodontist, does he make good money? And I was like, yeah, he makes great money.
Mhm.
And so over the years, I kind of was like, oh, my dad was like, you're going to be an orthodontist. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be an orthodontist. And I put my head down, but I didn't pick it up until I was all the way through dental school, really. And think to myself, like, wait, is this what I really want? But I'm halfway through it. It's really hard and I'm not a quitter, right? That's ingrained in me. Do not quit, even if what I'm doing isn't what I want to be doing. And so I
Mhm.
finished dental school, I finished residency, but I get out in residency and, you know, on paper, I should have been successful. On paper, I was a board certified orthodontist at the age of 26 years old. I started making more money than I'd ever even dreamed of. And yet I felt completely empty inside, completely meaningless. There was no fulfillment in life. Tony Robbins says fulfillment or success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And, that really hit home for me
Mhm.
because I had quote unquote success, but lacked completely no fulfillment, no purpose in life, no meaning. So after graduating, I started to do a deep dive into human psychology. I started doing courses. I started reading books. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl is a great book about how, these are Jews in the Holocaust, in concentration camps, with no idea of whether they're going to survive, how long they're going to be there for, whether this will be their last day or not. And what he found, he was a psychologist who was in the concentration camp himself. And he wrote down all these notes for this book on scraps, and they'd find it and, they'd tear it apart and he'd get beaten, or they'd, get scraps for food or no food. And many of
Mhm.
them died. But the ones that lived found a meaning even in their suffering.
Mhm.
And that really sticks home for me. And it started to transform the way I saw my life, right? Moving around a lot wasn't easy as a kid. Then you do everything you're told to do, thinking it's going to make you happy and successful. And that doesn't work. And then you're left there having these thoughts of like, why am I even here? Right.
Mhm.
And, I was really depressed and had, mental health issues, as I was supposed to really be like enjoying my life and finally have made it,
Yeah.
through all the struggle and learning about human psychology and creating some mental breakthroughs. I tied in, and I didn't originally call it emotional fitness. I just was, reading and learning. The reason I call it emotional fitness is because it's a daily activity. So I've been working out
Mhm.
since I was like 11 years old, 12 years old, playing sports. And if I didn't work out for a couple months, I wasn't as fast and I wasn't as strong. But if I
Mhm.
was consistent, I got better and better with time. And, after decades of working out, yeah, sure, I'm not going to ever go back to what I looked like before. But at the same time, if I don't work out for 6 months, which has happened due to injuries and various things, obviously, yeah, I get fat, I get slow, I'm
Mhm.
not strong. And the same thing goes for your mind and your emotions. See, I believe everything we do is driven towards or away from an emotion. You have
Mhm.
an emotion and you're like, I want to go to work because I want to make money, I want to be successful. That's a drive, right? You're motivated to do that. Because on the flip side, you don't want to feel like a failure, you want to be embarrassed, you want to have worry about whether you're going to be financially secure enough to put food on your table. And so these emotions are triggers for us to take action. And
Mhm.
really, it comes down to basic biology, which is the pain and pleasure principle. We move away from pain and we move toward pleasure. The problem is we move further and faster away from pain. We're 2 times more likely to move away from pain than we are to move towards pleasure. So it's a lot easier to say, well, I want to go work out, but that's painful short term.
Mhm.
Instead, I'm going to eat this chocolate cake because that gives me pleasure short term. But if you eat chocolate cake every day, long term, you get pain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's basically kind of what happened to me. So I created an entire workout for your mind, and to reset the mind by daily training. And trust me, I do this daily. And if I don't, or if I'm stretched thin, or if I'm stressed out, or if I got kids or my businesses or something's going wrong, well, you fall back to the level of your training. And if your training is not up to par, you're going to find where the weak spots are. And just like
Mhm.
working out your body, you're going to see, oh, I need to work this area a little bit more. I need to be able to shift my focus. I need to be able to shift my physiology, my perception, Because really, there's two things. If you want to change your life in anything you do, there's two ways to do it. You can either change your perspective about what's happening in life, or you can change what you're doing. You can take action and make change. And so that's what I did. I took action. I started to make change. And, gosh, it's over 10 years now. I'm a completely different person, but I still have my struggles, right? I still do this. This is a daily practice. This is a daily exercise.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, they go through these hard things. They do all these work, but they think that it's just going to be done after you put in that work. But, I mean, like for instance, my case, grief. I'm always going to have that in my life, right? And even, I mean, just with that one person I'm talking about, even though the person's passed away, you know, I'm still going to be able to deal with those things. And it's about, like you said, it's about like working on yourself, working on your emotions to be able to get past those points in the future when those things happen, when those weak points happen. And you have to train yourself to do this. And that's like you said, working out. You're not going to be able to pick up 50 pounds, or, well, I mean, I'm just using whatever, like 100 pounds or 200 pounds, unless you work your way up to that, right? So it's a matter of putting in the work, and what you're doing is, I think, is just amazing. And the name of your book too is just phenomenal. It's right on point, because you have to put in that work. You have to do it. Is a fitness, just like your body. Your body's a temple. People forget about the mind too. You have to work out the mind too, because that's what's driving the body. So I think you're on point, and you're really onto something here. So I just want to say thank you for that, and just want to acknowledge that.
I appreciate that, man. It was interesting. A buddy of mine sent a post. I don't know how true it is, nowadays with AI and stuff, but it was about old Spartan warriors and how they had to go through this uh, essentially training from the time they were a young boy to they go into manhood. And it was how they would visualize what the worst thing that could happen was. And the idea was that if they visualized what the worst thing that could happen was, they'd be trained to better respond in the moment, because our brains make things sometimes worse than what they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because if you circle around, if you have a goal in life, this is in my book too, but if you have a goal in life, there's a loop that we all go through. And on one side of this loop is faith that you have the ability to do this, that you can do this, and that you will do this. And on the other end, you have this fear that says, no, you're not good enough. No one's going to listen to what you have to say. No one's going to buy what you want to sell. No one's going to want what you are going to give.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of run around this track in this crazy loop where you go back and forth between, I'm afraid of what might happen, or failing, or not being good enough, to, I have faith that I can do this, I will do this, and I'm going to make something happen. And there's only one of two ways to get out of this loop. You either take action towards your goal, right? And I drew it so that there's an arrow up. You go up out of this loop, because that's where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or you choose distraction, right? So action or distraction. If you distract yourself with friends, with TV, with social media, your phone, that moves you away from your goals. And so every time you're trying to accomplish a goal, you're always kind of going through this very quickly sometimes, and sometimes for days or weeks or months, where you think, am I good enough to do this? Can I do this? I will do this. I might do this. You're like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And you get all this motivation. But if you don't take action immediately, then unfortunately you're choosing distraction. And people don't realize that. They don't realize that that's what they're choosing.
Do you think that there's a time frame, like in between, how like you have to jump on it right away in order for it to kind of skyrocket it? Or do you think you can take your time on it, like, and or do you think the distractions are just going to overcome that?
Well, look, I'm a big fan of taking action.
Mm-hmm.
My podcast is all about getting results. And the only way to get results, measurements about whether you're successful or failing, is to take action. Now, I think momentum matters. And the sooner you take action, the more likely you are to build that momentum and accomplish your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're thinking in your head, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to start a business, or I think I'm going to go work out. If you've ever thought, everybody can relate to this. I think I'm going to start working out today, or this year I'm going to lose 10 pounds. What should you do right then and there? You should nowadays you could literally, you have to run away from meal plans online, from workout plans online. I mean, there's so much information.
Mm-hmm.
You just put your shoes on and go for a run.
Mm-hmm.
Take action right now. Because what happens is when we are able to shift our emotional state in a single moment, we start to build habits.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, when you're building new habits, it requires more energy, more effort. It's hard. But if you do it every single day, now instead of you having to think about it, having to worry about it, having to go through that fear faith loop, you just wake up and go. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, when I work out, I just say to myself, 3, 2, 1, go. Because I wake up sometimes it's 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, man, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to wake up at that time? Sometimes, I
Yeah.
wake up and I can't go back to sleep. So instead of sitting on my phone in bed for an hour, wasting away, 3, 2, 1, go. And then I'm off. Don't think about it. Just put your shoes on, get to the gym, get out there, get running. And if you apply that to every goal you have, you're going to, one, accomplish a lot more very quickly. And two, you're going to find out what works and what doesn't instead of thinking in your brain, right? Because if you've ever started a business, if you've ever done anything new outside your comfort zone, you realize that the moment you start is the moment you start learning what works and what doesn't. You can have all these hypotheses about, hey, this is going to be the best way to do it. So-and-so does it this way. Everybody says, keto's the way. Everybody says no carbs, no fat, no food.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, intermittent fasting is a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, though, you just got to do it and find out what works for you. And the more action you take, the more results you get, the sooner you can figure out how to become successful. And if you wait too long, the longer you wait, the less likely you are to do it. So just use that 3, 2, 1, go.
I love it. I think that's a great idea. And I mean, like I mean, like even for me starting the podcast, it was like I had no idea what the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? I don't know anything about computer stuff, to be honest. I'm a construction worker, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And I mean, it was scary. It was scary, putting my face out on the internet so everybody can see, and they know who I am and all my vulnerabilities and that. It's scary, but at the same time, look where I am now, and look where you are now, and you're touching all these people, you're meeting all these great people. And at the end of the day, it may be scary at the beginning, but at the it came out to be this beautiful thing and great connections and meaning, so I just want to say to anybody listening, like, don't be scared. I mean, yeah, it's scary, but that's the fun part about it too, is you don't know what's going to happen, and it can go in any direction.
Eric, I'll tell you this, because a lot of people ask, how do you build confidence? And, the thing is you're going to be scared. You're going to have fear. But courage isn't not having fear. It's doing it even when you're in the face of fear.
100%.
It's saying, I will keep moving forward, even when I don't know what's going to happen, even when I'm uncertain about the outcome. So if you want to build confidence, start doing it. I think my belief is that we build confidence by doing hard shit consistently. Day in, day out. And over time, as we get better, that confidence builds more and more. Accepting that failure is not an end point, but a learning point means that each time I fail, I get better. And because each time I know what not to do, now I build even more confidence. So if you're not sure about how to do something, starting a podcast, I got huge names on my podcast very early on. People said, how did you do it? I was like, I just reached out to them. Like, what do you mean? Like, I just emailed them. I found an email. I Instagram, DM'd them. And I would go to events of theirs and I'd walk up to them. Hey, my name's Corey Corpodian. I'm a host of Unleash Success podcast. And, everything you talk about is exactly what I'd love to share with my audience. Would you be a guest on my show? And that actually works sometimes, right? Like, sure, it didn't work sometimes too, but other times, that's how I got Tom Bilyeu on the podcast. I had reached out to him, DM'd him a couple times, and ended up getting his secretary being like, we politely decline and, not right now. And so I went to one of his events. I was talking to him. He's like, Corey. I was like, yeah. And, not like, I don't know, maybe he knew me, maybe he didn't. But he's like, oh, you sound familiar. And I was like, yeah, I messaged you. He's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, you know what? Since you're here, since you showed up right here, right fucking now, let's do this podcast. And we
Wow.
set it up, man, did it in his house. It was so cool because, here I am interviewing the founder of $1 billion company. And the lessons
Yeah.
you learn from somebody who has grown a company from 0 to 1 million is so different than somebody who has scaled to $1 billion, because everything breaks at scale. And then as you go and you learn, growing it, it was incredible. And just what a, cool experience for me starting out podcasting. So again, just to
Super
say,
cool.
like, take the action, do whatever you think you need to do, try it out. Sometimes it works. Sometimes,
Yeah.
you get lucky, and sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't work, and that's okay too. You got to just try things.
Well, and you got to figure out where you stand in this world, right? You know what I mean? Where your place is, I guess you could say, in the almighty of things, I guess, or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, it's like, it's, if you don't know, if you don't try, you don't know. At the end of the day, So, I mean, try, put yourself out there and take that risk, And like I say this before too on a couple other podcasts, is, as human beings, we're scared to not know the outcome on things, right? That's why we want to know all the stats on, like, uh, sports teams and stuff like that, so you can figure out if you're going to win, because as human beings, we're scared to know the unknown. We need to know everything. We need to know the weather, we need to know the traffic, we need to know this, because when we don't know that, then we are like, oh, like, we feel out of control, and that's a big thing, is like, it's okay when you're starting something to feel out of control, because you don't know what's going to happen, and that's the exciting thing at the end of the day, is what's going to come in the future, and also the touch on thing, how you're saying, like, the lessons and, like, failing and stuff like that, so I had a really good talk with Men Thrive Daily. He's another podcast, and he had a brain injury. A drunk driver was driving on the on ramp on the wrong way, wanted to kill himself, and went head on
Oh
into
God.
and head to him. Yeah, and he was left on the road, pretty much dying with a brain injury, and luckily they came and saved him. So he started a podcast, and he says that he's trying to learn how to teach grit. Like, you just can't teach grit. He's trying to learn, like, how do you teach grit? How do you teach these lessons that, like, we go through, like, you have to go through in order to figure out this grit. And he's like, he's on this journey of trying to teach grit and how to, like, talk about it. But he says, and it kind of, like, really opened up my mind, is he went through this traumatic thing that happened to him, and now in his life, he's like, I wouldn't change that. I would go through that again because of what I've done, and the people that I've helped in my life. So nowadays, he says, was it really traumatic, or did I have to go through that in order to be able to put me in the spot now to help people? So technically, I'm helping people, I'm doing good things. What happened to me, was it really traumatic, or did I need to go through that in order to help people? And it kind of really opened up my eyes, on some of that. What's your take on that? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, I couldn't agree more. When it comes to, with my backstory, just kind of like I kind of skipped over it a little bit. I don't know
Yeah,
why,
it's
but
okay. It's all good. It's all
yeah,
good.
one of those things. Just want to get into the
Yeah,
actual let's take action part.
yeah,
But one of the things that when I got out of residency, I was 26 years old. I started getting more serious into working out, and I'll explain how this ties into your story in a second, just about
yeah. No
why
problem.
we go through certain things we go through. Uh, so I'm 26 years old. I start working out. I decided to join a bodybuilding competition. I end up winning first place, and
Wow.
I really dive deep into men's physique. So it wasn't full blown bodybuilding, but men's physique. And it was something. I wasn't making money at it, but I felt good about it. My body felt good, and so about a year later, I'm going for my pro card, and I'd won state championships in California, and was going to Las Vegas for junior nationals to get my pro card. I didn't get it, and so I was in first call outs, and only top two get it, and so I was bummed. But it was my first national competition, And I was like, all right, there's another national competition in 2 months. Well, all this is going on. I went through anatomy courses and everything. I've got this mole on the side of my chest. And of course, I'm men's physique. I'm working on my body. I started noticing a change, but for whatever reason, I didn't think anything of it. But I had been paying for health insurance because of Obamacare. This is back in 2014, I think. So it was like a year and a half after I started working. I got a residency in 2013. And so I'm paying for insurance and I say, all right, you know what? Let me go to the dermatologist, get a full body checkup. It's been like 10 years since I've been to the dermatologist. And I'd had some moles removed as a kid, so I was kind of used to it. And they're like, oh, we got to biopsy this mole. Yeah, sure. No problem. Just, whatever. All good. Little stitch. Come back a week later and come to find out, they're like, we need to remove this. I was like, yeah, no problem. Of course. Like cut the whole thing out. And they draw a circle on my chest that was about a centimeter in width. It was a very small mole, but it was centimeter completely around, which is about the size of like a little larger than the size of a golf ball, right? Around my chest. The problem was this mole was like right next to my nipple, and they basically were going to cut off my whole nipple. And I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Like, well, it's melanoma. And I'm like, in my head, I know what melanoma is, and it's an aggressive form of skin cancer. But I'm like, wait, there's got to be a different way. There's got to be something else we could do. This can't be that serious. Oh, by the way, like if you're cutting off this much, I'm not going to be able to compete. I'm going for my pro card. Can we wait 6 months? Right? Like not making any sense logically, especially given the background I have. I knew there was a major problem, but I was just trying to deny it, that it was such a big deal. They said, no, if you wait 6 months, you'll lose half your chest. And if you wait a year, you could die. And that's when it kind of hit me. I was, and so I say this is memento mori, means remember that one day you will die. And that was my memento mori. That was the time that I said, you know what, I'm not invincible. And that if I don't take care of this right away, I could die.
Memento mori, it's called?
Memento mori. Yeah,
I love it.
It's a term that says, remember that one day you will die.
Okay.
And that day, I ended up doing a plastic surgeon thing so I could save my nipples. I didn't look too super deformed. I have a couple inch scar on my chest and everything, but I wasn't able to work out for months, obviously. And that was really the start of my journey, because what should have been a moment for me to be like, thank God I caught this in time. Thank God I'm alive. I mean, and eventually I came to that point, really though, sent me in a deep depression. Because now all of a sudden I can't work out. I have no outlet to make myself feel better. I have no purpose in life. I mean, I was the fit guy, right? 6-pack abs, rolling around, jacked. And now all of a sudden I didn't have that. And I fell into a bad way. I started drinking more, and I wasn't focused on myself. And it finally got to a point though that said, you know what? I realized how lucky I am that I caught that in time, because I hadn't been a dermatologist in 10 years. And I realized that at this point, if I don't change now, I'm never going to change, and this life's not worth living. So out of desperation, I went looking for answers. And when you're desperate, that's when you're willing to do anything. That's what I did. I ended up going to a Tony Robbins event, flying to Florida. I had no idea, except for two examples of Tony Robbins in my life. My dad was big into motivation and sales. He was in sales most of his life, owned a couple companies, was a super motivating guy. And he had talked about Tony Robbins a couple of times. And then, of course, it was the movie Shallow Hal. This guy, I was like, oh, there's Dad, Tony Robbins. There's that guy. And other than that, I had no idea. So I Google Tony Robbins. Oh my God, this guy's still doing events. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah. And I actually like wanted to buy a free book that he was offering for shipping, and then they charged me an extra $100. So I get on the phone with him. I'm like, hey, you know what? By the way, what's this Date with Destiny event? It was a fantastic event, and I'm not into the rah of, some people are like, this is your guru and everything, but he really does an incredible event. And it was what I needed. I needed something for change. And, so I take 5 days off work. I spent a couple $1,000s. I go to this event. And that was the catalyst that helped me understand that there's this whole world, opening your mind. Going back to your story about, the podcast host who basically was left for dead on the side of the road, recovering from brain damage. I look at my life and some of the trials and tribulations that I've had and say, out of my greatest pain came my greatest strength.
Mm-hmm.
In
I
the
agree.
moments of deepest weakness, we go looking for answers, and the only way out is up. And so when you look back through different problems I've had in my life with depression, with mental health, moving, financial instability, bankruptcy several times, just not being able to know whether, we're going to have to move again to be able to go to a new job. And then finding out I could have died from skin cancer if I hadn't made an appointment with a dermatologist randomly, right? It makes you start to appreciate life at a deeper level, not take things for granted. And, looking at why we go through certain things helps us understand what we're made of, right? And that's why I said earlier, you want to be confident, do hard shit consistently. But if you do something really hard, it says, hey, you know what? I have what it takes to run a marathon. I have what it takes to compete in bodybuilding. I have what it takes to go to dental school, to pursue my goals, to pursue my dreams and accomplish them. And that instills a level of faith, of confidence, and conviction in yourself. And to tie this all in together, that's kind of my story and everything, and how, like, obviously depression, mental health is a huge area for me. And it's really why I wrote the book Emotional Fitness, which is a guidebook, a workout program for your brain, for your mind, and your emotions. And honestly, it builds mental toughness. It's not just about, I want to feel happy. No. It builds mental toughness, but you need the building blocks. And you talk about grit. Grit is something, again, I think the more consistently you do something hard, the grittier you are, right? The more grit you have, the more you can say, hey, you know what? Like, look, man, I've never run a marathon. The furthest I've run is 5K, but I know I could play sports all day. So if I train for a marathon, I could. I don't have a desire to do it though, but I've done so much stuff, so much hard shit physically in my life that it doesn't just translate to a physical conviction. It's a mental conviction. I have confidence that says, hey, I know I might not have the answers right now, but I can find them. I might not have the best plan right now, but I can find it. I can get the best plan. I can try more things. I can do more things to get the results that I want, to be successful in life. And that's what I base my character off of, right? In the book Emotional Fitness, I have this pyramid that I created, which essentially talks about change your state in a moment, right? And if you can change your state in many moments, you can build habits, which we talked about already. The more it takes a lot of energy to build habits, but once you build habits, then all of a sudden it becomes easier because you're just going, right? You're just doing it. And out of these habits, you can build beliefs. Now, beliefs can come from many different things. They can come from new experiences. They can come from your past as a child. They can come from your parents, your teachers, your friends. And the more intense an experience you have is, the stronger that belief, right? Your parents forget to pick you up from school one day as a kid. Now you've got emotional detachment issues or attachment issues to your parents because of the one time they did it, but it was the one time that you really were relying on them to pick you up and they forgot about you. And now you think your parents don't love you. And people will carry that stuff for the rest of their life.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that my parents taught me, which was an incredible belief, was that it said, Corey, as long as you're willing to work hard enough, you can accomplish anything.
That's a great.
They almost brainwashed me. Right. They almost brainwashed me as a young kid with that. And as I learned that I could develop, I could reinforce beliefs. Well, of course I chose that one to reinforce. That's a great belief to have.
Yeah.
But some other beliefs that I had was that if I'm not perfect, I'm a failure. So, and that was, my dad was just trying to make me better. I got a 98 on a test. He said, why didn't you get 100? I scored 2 touchdowns. He said, yeah, but you had a fumble in the second quarter. I'd scored 20, 25 points in a basketball game. He said, but yeah, you missed 3 free throws. It was like, I was always striving to be better, to be perfect. But the problem is sometimes trying to be perfect all the time, though, you might not even try because you can't be perfect, because perfection is an illusion. So anyways, that was a long way of going about it. But, and to finalize the emotional fitness pyramid, so we've got change your state in a moment, build many moments into a habit, And then those habits become your beliefs. You've got, surface level beliefs, and then you've got core beliefs. And if you can change your beliefs, if you can change who you are. You can choose to be who you are. My wife and I wrote a book, which we're releasing at the end of this year, December 1st. It's called I Am Animal Affirmations. It's a kid's book because I want to
That's
instill
cool.
some of these same, thanks, man. I want to instill some of these same positive beliefs that my parents did in me. And we're like, we'll write a book. So one of them is, I am brave like the lion. And it says, with courage deep inside my heart, I'll face each challenge from the start. Right.
I
Or
love
I'm
it.
patient like the tortoise. So, it's not that we're expecting kids to just read this and that's what they'll do. But if you reinforce these positive, empowering emotions through something that's fun and cute, like an animal, if this is a kid's book, right?
Yeah.
In the same way we do it. I mean, like when I'm working out, I'm not like, oh, I'm, Corey. I visualize myself being, as strong as like, when you're doing back. And so you want to have a
Like the
huge
Hulk.
back. Like, right,
Yeah.
exactly. And like
Yeah.
when you got legs, we used to always say, like, you got to root yourself in the ground like tree trunks, right? And you're like, you're trying
Yeah.
to push 400 pounds on a squat. You're like, oh man, I gotta go. Like, these are things that visualization is a very powerful tool. And
Mm-hmm.
so, by associating these empowering emotions with animals, we hope to be able to empower many kids throughout life and our own kids, really. Right. So
I
that was
love
the
it.
main reason we wrote it.
And you're
Yeah. And
planting seeds too. That's what you're doing. Is you're planting seeds without them even knowing it. You know what I mean? About like, strong as the lion or powerful as the lion, you said. And it's like you're planting that seed, like, yeah, like, maybe this kid will remember that, like, yeah, I am strong as this lion. And it's these little seeds that you're planting at the beginning of these child's lives, that and it's the right kind of, like, nature. You nurture it, you grow this beautiful emotion, I guess you could say, out of it. Maybe,
it
if that makes sense.
makes total sense, Eric. I mean, have you seen the movie Inception
Oh,
with Leonardo DiCaprio?
one of my favorite
Right.
movies, man.
Great movie. So he goes down the different levels. For anybody who hasn't seen it, there's this whole world, but you should definitely watch it. You'll understand this metaphor a little bit more. But I mean, he plants a seed at the deepest
Hmm.
level, the fourth layer of Inception, that this is not real. And it comes all the way up to the top. But unfortunately, his wife, believes now that
Yeah.
her reality is not real, not that the base
Yeah.
level isn't real. If you're able to plant a seed in a young child's mind or even your mind and reinforce that with time over and over again, what's to say that you won't believe it? What's to say
Hmm.
that it won't create change? At the top
Yeah.
of the emotional fitness pyramid is our identity. And I have all these different exercises about how to change your identity. See, I believe this is a belief, right? But it's an empowering belief. I believe that we don't have to find ourselves. It's not like you were born, your identity's out there in the middle of the world or in the ocean somewhere, and you're looking for it. All of a sudden you find yourself
Hmm.
and you're like, hey, that's who I
Yeah,
am.
there it is.
Yeah, there it is. That's my identity. Go get
Mhm.
it. Oh God, it's running away. But I believe that we create our identities
100%.
through choice, and you choose who you want to be.
Hmm.
And you can choose who you want to be right now. You want to be a man of action? Choose it right now. Write down 3 things that if you accomplish these 3 things, it's going to move the needle. It's going to move you forward. I call it a power action list. So I look at what are the 20% of things that are going to get 80% of the results.
I love it,
And
man.
you write down those 3 things and then go. 3, 2, 1, go. You just take action on those 3 things. And that's how I design my life, because don't get caught up in the minutia of life. A mentor of mine once said that to me. Don't get caught up in the minutia. Because if you're always worried about the little things, you got to be detail oriented. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the little drama, the meaningless
Hmm.
stuff that the next day there's going to be another problem. There's going to be another person complaining. There's going to be this or that. Don't get caught up in that. Stay high level, because if you want to move the needle, you've got to do things that are going to actually make change. And I think, for all your listeners out there, the biggest things, if you want to empower your kids, if you want to build a better business, if you want to make change in your own life or in the world, it starts with you.
Hmm.
You have to master yourself. That's what emotional fitness is. It's about creating mentally strong people who want to be better, who want to get better, and are willing to put in the work to do it.
You actually just answered. I was going to ask you about the book. What does emotional fitness really mean in the simplest way? And you just kind of answered it right there. Uh, um, so why do you feel that the world needed this book? I know why the world needed it, but like from you, like what from you?
Yeah. So I think the world needs more leaders. And I think I know the world statistically, we're having more mental health issues than ever before.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah.
And since COVID, it has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Since the invention of social media, of phones, all these things have taken away our ability to control our emotions, to control our own minds. We are hijacked by whatever is in the algorithm. And people think emotions control them. The truth is, you can control your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, do you simply react to what's happening? Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Do you go, "Oh, fuck that guy," right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a reaction. Or do you consciously choose to act? Hey, maybe that guy's in a rush. Maybe he's got somewhere important to go. Oh, thank
Yeah.
God he didn't hit me, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that everybody responds differently. How you respond dictates what your life will be like.
It's true. Sorry, my computer's making a whole bunch of noises here. 1 second. Sorry, guys.
All good, man. I don't even hear it.
You know, okay, yeah, it's going crazy. One of my USB drives, I guess, the cat walked by and pulled on my USB, so now it's going teet 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 teet. Like the thing keeps on popping up, but whatever, we'll let it roll. I can work through it. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly, I think exactly what this world needs. Like we are hurting, like you said, like after COVID, it's just being crazy, and a lot of people too forget about self-worth, their self, taking care of themselves. That's a big thing that I find that we don't do anymore, really, is like, take care of yourself, do something that's going to fulfill you, to like step away from your world at the moment, step away and take a breath too. I think that's a big thing that we need to do. Find something that makes you happy, a hobby, drawing, singing, whatever it may be, and step away and forget about everything for a little bit, and like have some self-care, go to get a massage, go do something like that. I think that's another thing that a lot of people don't do anymore, is a lot of self-care and take care of themselves.
And it
um
doesn't take that long every day, right? Like, I
no.
mean, there's different exercises I have in the book where you wake up and you prime yourself for success. And one of them is just a breathing exercise, right?
Hmm.
I mean, just changing the most amazing thing in the world is that we have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. But we can access and change the way our physiology, our biochemistry is behaving simply by changing our breath.
Hmm.
And I think people don't really realize how powerful that can be. Like if you're stressed out and you start to do a controlled breathing method, so you could inhale for 4, inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, inhale 2, 3, 4, or sorry, hold. So it's a 4,
Hold.
4,
Yeah.
4 method. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do this breathing method, it changes the way your body's biochemistry is relaying messages to the brain. It allows you to relax, get more focused. There's also too, like, when I was doing ice baths, and you jump in a bath of ice, you can control your body temperature and stay
Hmm.
calm and relaxed in a tub of ice simply by controlling your breathing.
Wim Hof,
And really
man,
the
he's the
simple,
man.
it's yeah, it's crazy,
Yeah.
but all you
Yeah.
got to do, I mean, there's a couple steps to it, but the
Yeah.
biggest key that I found was lengthening the exhale each
Mm.
successive breath. The longer the exhale, the more control you had. And you know, I would sit there, I'd start talking, and I would forget about my breath, and all of a sudden the cold would take over, the fear would take over, right? So there's a lot of different things out there. Power posing, I talk about in my book, which is amazing. You know, easy thing to do.
Mhm.
Actually, has been shown to raise testosterone. decrease cortisol, which is a stress
What is
hormone,
it?
and power posing. So power
Posing.
posing is this idea that was tested by Harvard psychologist Amy Cuddy. She had people stand. So to make you and your listeners really understand this, I would say is to start off actually, instead of doing this first, I'm going to walk you through a step that will make the transition even more pronounced. First thing you do is I want you to actually think about somebody who's really sad and depressed. What does like a sad, depressed person look like? Typically, their head's down, their eyes are down, their voice is soft, their shoulders are slumped over, their arms might
Mhm.
be crossed, and they're sitting there and they're just, they're weak looking. They're holding themselves to protect themselves. And if you do this right now and hold it for 30 seconds to a minute, and you're while I'm talking right now, you're just like head down, you kind of feel shitty. Like I don't feel very good,
Mhm.
right? And then immediately I want you to snap out of it and put your chest up, shoulders back, put your hands on your hips like you're Superman, look straight ahead, chin up, eyes forward, hands on the hip, like you're Superman or Wonder Woman. And this they call power posing. Do
Okay.
this for 2 minutes. Just stand up nice and tall, chest out, shoulders back, chin up, eyes forward, head up, hands on the hip.
In the
Like
mirror, in
Superman or
front of
Wonder
the
Woman
mirror,
stand.
or just doesn't matter?
Just doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, you could do it
Okay.
in front of the mirror, so you're doing it right, but just do it. Just sit here and hold it. Even
Okay.
just me, as I did this in this interview right now, as I transitioned, I feel better. And if you hold this for 2 minutes, what ends up happening is that they found that it increases testosterone, it decreases cortisol, the stress hormone, and people were a third more likely to go after their
Wow.
goals. I mean, it's two
Wow.
minutes a day.
Yeah. I've never even heard of this before, man. This is crazy. See, this is why I love doing this and meeting people, to learn all these things. And so listeners can, like, it might help someone. This is awesome, man. Thank you. I've never even heard of anything like this before. That's wild. And like you said, 2 minutes. It's just something small, you know?
Exactly.
And like
And the
I think
great
we
thing
all have
is
two
that,
minutes in
yeah.
our lives.
And if you don't have 2 minutes, you need to make 2 minutes. You need
Yeah.
to get up 2 minutes earlier for yourself, because I'm glad you said that. Sometimes people make excuses, but we all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Hmm.
All of us, the president of the United States, Oprah, everybody has the same amount of time. How you use your time is what matters. And if you don't
Yeah.
have 2 minutes for yourself, well, then you're not being your best self for the rest of the day, for the people that rely on you, your family, your coworkers, your kids. You're not being your best self if you don't take time for yourself and make sure you're showing up.
Well, and on top of that, too, let's face it, time is the most precious thing in this world. I don't care. You can fight me on it, anything. Time is the most precious thing because you can never get that back. You will never get that back. So you want to I guess you could say you want to waste your day in a positive way. Or I wouldn't even say waste. Waste is the wrong word, but you want to use your time in the positive way, and make those times, like you said, make those 2 minutes, because that is your emotional fitness right there, like like your book says, and you got to train yourself, because at the end of the day, like how you were, and you're going to be slumped over, that's what you're going to be like if you don't take these actions and you don't do this emotional fitness. I love how I can just throw that in there. It's perfect. But I mean, this is real life shit, man. You need to be doing this, and your book is on fucking point, man. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the book goes deep, right? Like, and I'm all about depth. I'm not trying to be surface level, like, hey, this is positive thinking bullshit. It's not, right?
Yeah.
This is in many ways, science is catching up to what some people already knew, right? With the power posing, but it is combining the ideas behind the psychology and physiology of our bodies to be able to make real change in our lives.
Hmm.
And it's interesting, like right now I could look all around the room, and if I say, hey, Eric, I want you to find everything that was red in your room right now, and you're looking
Oh,
around,
I love
like,
this
okay,
one.
okay,
Yeah.
don't, yeah. And then you
Yeah.
close your eyes, and I'm like, all right, now open your eyes and tell me everything that's green. And you're like, wait,
Yeah.
what? I don't see anything that's green. Now all I can see are this red box, this red shirt, this red sign. Where we focus, our energy will go to. Have you
Yeah.
ever bought a new car, a new shirt, new sunglasses. All of a sudden, you see it everywhere now.
Yeah, I
And
was
you don't
just
have to
gonna
buy a
say
new car.
that.
You could be, you could be thinking about a new car, and you're like, wow, there are a lot of
Yeah,
Teslas on the road again. Like
yeah,
you're like, wow, there's a lot
yeah,
of F-150s on the road. Like I didn't
yeah,
realize so many people had it. You told your brain it was important, and now you're starting to notice it everywhere.
yeah,
This is with simple stuff. But what are you telling your brain is important and you're noticing problems everywhere? And what are you not telling your brain that's important that could be the solutions you're looking for?
yeah.
They could be
You're
staring you in
missing
the
it.
face and you
Yeah,
can't see it.
yeah. It's just going by you. Sometimes you're missing it. What is it? The first time I heard this, it was called the red car effect. Where and it's the
Yeah.
same kind of thing. You know that one, right? Where it's like think about a red
Yeah.
car when you come here, and then how many blue cars did you see or whatever it was, right? And it's the same. Like, yeah, man. It's ever since I heard that, it's opened up my eyes, and I think I heard about a couple of years back now about it. Some lady actually was on a podcast. I forget the podcast, and she brought this, and I was like, wow, like it that really makes sense, you know. And you're too focused, like you said, on the problems or whatever that everything else is just passing you by. You're not really stopping and smelling the flowers. And like on Raw Minds, that's what we always talk about is like, you know, sometimes you got to step back and smell the flowers and appreciate everything that's around you instead of just, you know, focusing all the time on like the negativity. So I know I'm kind of running off on a different, but it's kind of all builds all comes together in the aspect. But yeah, it's just it's so powerful. Just that one thing is just so powerful, man. So thank you for sharing that. That was really good.
Awesome.
um I want to ask, where was it here? I had something written down I wanted to ask you here. Uh yeah, here. So sorry, man, I'm all over the place. This noise keeps on popping, so it's throwing me right off here. um where is it here? If someone only remembered one lesson from emotional fitness, what would that be? What should that be?
I think the one thing that you should remember from today's conversation is that you have the choice to change your life right now. You don't like something in your life, you got a problem, you want to change it. I said before, you can do it one of two ways. You can change your perspective of that thing, what you're focusing on, what it means to you. You can change how it appears to you. You know, wow, I lost this deal. Don't worry, there's plenty of other deals in the world. I just have to work harder. I didn't get the promotion. You know what? That's okay. Now I'm going to be looking for other opportunities. You can change the perspective to mean something more to you, or you
Mm-hmm.
can change what you're doing. So if you don't like what's going on, you change your perspective. It's not working. Change what you're doing, right? Go get a new job. Go get a new girlfriend. Go to the gym. Go just take action and make your life better. And the great thing is like if you're struggling with something in life and you go exercise, it's going to change the way you feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's depressed while they're sprinting. Nobody's depressed while they're trying to deadlift 300 pounds. The two things can't exist at the same time. So if you're not happy with what's going on in your life, start taking action. Or you can change your perspective. You got one or two options, but you have a choice every single day to change the way you feel about life and what's going on in your life. And that's really the most important thing about emotional fitness.
I love it. It's so true. I mean, you are in control of everything that is around you. I guess like your emotions and stuff like that. And it's all about, like you said, like earlier you said, if someone maybe cut you off and instead of getting mad, you know, what are they going through? You know what I mean? You have that. You have the ability to, you know, guide your emotions and your life, I guess, in the right way. Um, and I mean, your book is emotional fitness is the blueprint, like you say, to doing that, man.
And I think, Eric, sometimes people don't realize it's possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes people might hear what I just said and be like, yeah, that sounds great, but that doesn't work for my life. My life's harder. My life's more difficult. I have different problems. And look, I'm not going to pretend that I've had the hardest life in the world because I haven't. but I've gone through my own trials and tribulations. And I think
Mhm.
that every time we're all doing the best we can, given the resources we have at the moment. But I'm
Mhm.
giving you more resources. I'm explaining to you that if you choose, you can change your belief, right? At one point in your life, you probably believed in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. And
Mhm.
then little Johnny came home and little Johnny came over and said, "Hey, you know what? Guess what? Santa Claus isn't real. It's just your
Wait,
parents."
what?
and
What?
then
No.
and then you went to your parents and you said, "Is this true, mom and dad?" And I said, "No, no, no. Santa Claus is real." And then they eventually came back to you and said, "Santa Claus is not real, and that's probably why you have you're always worried your parents are lying to you." I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. But
Yeah.
the thing is that we all had a belief at some point in our life that we found out to be untrue, and we changed that belief. And so you have the choice right now to believe that change is possible, that you can choose. And you'll start to see the more you embrace that, the more you're going to be able to change, the more you're going to be able to accomplish in your life. And obviously the whole goal is to really get people to live a better life, right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
always my goal. I want to empower people to do the same.
And you're paying it forward too, which is beautiful too, right? It's the ripple effect, right? You're helping other people, and hopefully, if people don't know ripple effect, you take a like a pebble or a rock, you throw it in the water, it's gonna make ripples, right? Well, that is the effect that you're doing on someone, and those ripples, will go to other people and other people, and what you're teaching other people, hopefully they teach other people, not to this extent of like your knowledge and stuff, but hopefully what they've been through and whatever, and it passes on, man. So what you're doing is amazing, man. I appreciate
Thanks.
you.
And if anybody wants to be able to get the book, you can order off Amazon. We probably will. We continue to sell it on Amazon, but just go to masteremotionalfitness.com. I can send you the link too, so you can put it in the
And it'll
show
be in
notes.
the
But
description.
yeah, yeah,
I'll put it all in it.
masteremotionalfitness.com. Yeah.
Corey, I just so we're getting to the end here, but I always ask my guests one last question at the end of it, and in one sentence, oh god, I can't even think right now. I'm so flustered because the stupid things making noises all over the place. In one sentence, what can you tell the world? Like, what can you like? What's one thing that you want to tell the world in one sentence?
I th- that what happens to us and our circumstances do not have to define us. That we have the ability to choose who we are at any given moment and to become who we visualize ourselves as right now. We can become a better person. We're always kind of chasing who we want to be. And so I think that, at the end of the day, you design the life that you want to live. The life you're living right now is the life that you made choices for along the way. Good or
Mm-hmm.
bad, might not have felt like conscious choices, might have felt like you had to, but you chose this life just the way I chose this life. And obviously there's, some people are born in certain circumstances, but
Yeah,
if you want to change something,
yeah,
make better choices. If you're able to listen to this podcast and watch this, you're in the part of the world that has access to as many resources to do immeasurable things. With a
yeah.
simple cell phone, you could change your life, you can change the world. And so if you're listening to this right now and watching this, then take advantage of the opportunity that you have. And if you want to change your life, realize that it starts by making a choice today.
Beautiful, man. Well said. And to add on to that, like, pick your heart. At the end of the day, pick your heart. And that's how I see it. Is your heart gonna be, you know, having no job, being a degenerate in life and not doing anything? Not saying that, but I mean, like just living off of, or is heart or going to getting up every day and going to work and having some fulfillment in your life. Like, pick your heart. And I just want to say to all my listeners too, is like we have all walks of life on our podcast. People go through things, from someone dealing with HD or ADHD, sorry, I can't speak, to someone getting shot 26 times. You know what I mean? it doesn't matter what level of your trauma and what you've been through. That's hard for you. You know, there is no like better or, oh, that guy's has it worse. There is no better. That's hard for you. That it doesn't matter, you know, that's hard for you. So I want to let you guys know that no matter what, you know, it doesn't matter if someone's got a harder life, not like that's your hard, you know, and just stick with it, man. Like, you know, do the work, do everything, and eventually you'll come on top, man. Eventually you come on. You just got to put in the work there. I just wanted
And I
to
think,
throw that in.
yeah, there's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, what was it? Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life.
Easy life, yeah.
And so if you make the hard choices today, you'll live an easy life tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, people give up and they don't know if they're ever going to be successful, or if they're ever going to accomplish their goal, if they're ever going to make it, but they give up, right? They don't know how close they are sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like that meme where the guy's digging for gold and one guy's digging for gold and he stops 1 foot before he strikes gold. But the guy tomorrow, the competitor, the other person next to you who stays consistently working 1 extra day, 1 extra week, 1 extra month, maybe it's 1 extra year, they eventually hit gold. And you go, oh, how come they did it? They're so lucky. And I always say luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
I love that.
Prepare, work hard. When the opportunity arises, you'll be ready and you'll be able to take advantage.
You've just given me goosebumps with all these like new things that I'm learning here, man. So I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to listen to this over again and write all these things down, man. Definitely, I appreciate you.
Awesome.
Corey, is there
Thank you,
anything
Eric.
else you want to plug, or do you want to plug anything else out there, or anybody can reach you? And also, I just want to say, you know, like Emotional Fitness, pick it up, and also check out his podcast, Unleash Success, Success Podcast, man. Like, please, like,
Thank you.
show Corey some support.
Look, and honestly, it's about this, right? It's about building people up. It's about empowering people. Podcast is completely free, so you can go on there. There's tons of great advice, not just about business, but about life as well. And different spin than your podcast. But I really appreciate you having me on. It's been a great time sharing information with you and just
I love it.
and helping people. So thanks, Eric. Appreciate it a lot.
That's what we're here for, man. And this is why I do it, to have guests like you come on, you know, and share your world and what you've done that's helped you, and hopefully it helps some other people in this world, man. So I appreciate you. On that note, again, thank you, Corey, for coming out. Appreciate you. You're part of the Raw Minds family now, man. So thank you for just showing up and being here, man. And thank you for everything else. On that note, too, guys, there will be an album coming out. I will finish it probably this week, so maybe Wednesday to Friday in that timeline. Check it out. Some songs are about my life. Other songs are just gonna be about men's mental health. And Corey heard a little bit of it, and I think he approves. So yeah, check it out. We'll see you next week. Sorry again that I've been so busy with a whole bunch of stuff, but there's things in the works, and you guys will be proud. So, anyways, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Corey, for coming out, and hopefully we'll do this again sometime.
Awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.